It was a quiet Sunday morning in the small town of Maplewood. The church, a humble brick building with stained glass windows, was filled with familiar faces. Soft hymns drifted through the air as sunlight poured in, lighting up the wooden pews. The calm was suddenly broken when the church doors creaked open, and a man stepped inside, followed closely by a large dog. The dog's gentle eyes scanned the room, its tail low but steady. Whispers quickly spread through the congregation. Eyes widened, and heads turned. People shuffled nervously in their seats. Then from near the front, a woman stood abruptly. Her voice rang out sharp and clear, cutting through the murmurs. "You can't bring a dog in here." Her words hung heavy, sparking surprise and confusion. Why was she so upset, and why did the man bring the dog inside the sacred space? The church suddenly felt very tense. The woman who spoke up was Mrs. Evelyn Harper, a longtime member of the church. Everyone knew Evelyn as a woman of strong faith and strict rules. She believed that the church was a place of quiet respect, a sanctuary where nothing should disturb the peace. Over the years she had seen her share of disruptions. Once a stray cat had run through the pews, sending children into fits of laughter but breaking the calm of the service. Since then, Evelyn had grown wary of animals in the church. Evelyn wasn't cruel. In fact, she cared deeply about her community and the church's traditions. But to her, bringing a dog inside felt like breaking those unspoken rules. It was disrespectful, even a little rude. She worried the dog might bark or cause trouble, distracting everyone from worship. Her feelings were tied to memories too. Years ago her father had been a soldier, and she remembered how the family held on to order and discipline to get through tough times. That sense of order had stuck with her, shaping how she saw the world. As she looked at the man and his dog, Evelyn's heart raced, not just from shock, but from a deep sense that something wasn't right. She wanted to protect the church, its peace and its people. But what she didn't know yet was that this moment would challenge everything she believed. The man stood quietly near the entrance, his eyes steady but tired. He wore worn-out clothes, a simple jacket and faded jeans, but there was something about him that made people glance twice. The dog beside him was large, maybe a German shepherd, calm and still, wearing a special-looking vest. It wasn't just any pet. The dog seemed serious, almost like a protector. Whispers began to ripple through the church. Some people frowned, others looked away, unsure how to react. No one had ever seen a dog brought inside before, especially not one so big. The man said nothing, just stood there as the woman's voice echoed through the room, telling him to leave. The dog didn't move or bark, it simply looked up at the man with quiet trust. Despite the tension, the man kept his calm. He didn't argue or raise his voice. His silence made the church feel even heavier with questions. Why was he here? Why did he bring the dog? Was it right to break the church's rules like this? People began to stare at the dog's vest. A few whispered words like "service dog" and "help." But no one knew the full story yet. The woman's anger didn't fade. She repeated firmly, "You have to take that dog outside. This is a place of worship, not a place for animals." The man's lips pressed together, his hands clenched slightly. He looked around the room, then slowly raised his hand as if asking for a moment to speak. "Please," he said softly. "Just give me a moment." The room went quiet again, holding its breath. The pastor, an older man with gentle eyes, looked uncertain. He cleared his throat but didn't interrupt. The congregation shifted uncomfortably, caught between curiosity and judgment. Some nodded toward the woman, agreeing quietly with her. Others glanced at the man and his dog with sympathy. A few younger people exchanged nervous looks, unsure of what was right. The church, usually so calm, now buzzed with tension. No one wanted to cause a scene, but the man's quiet presence, and the woman's loud protest, made it impossible to ignore. The woman stood tall, her voice firm. "You can't just bring your dog in here, it's disrespectful." The man finally looked up. His voice was calm but filled with quiet strength. "Please, I'm not here to cause trouble. Just let me explain." The room fell into silence. All eyes turned to him, waiting. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. His dog sat obediently at his side, eyes alert and calm. The pastor nodded slowly, giving the man permission to speak. "Thank you," the man said softly. "I promise this is important." The woman folded her arms, her eyes still wary but curious. The rest of the church waited, holding their breath for what would come next. The man reached slowly for the zipper of his worn jacket. The room was silent, every eye fixed on him. With careful hands, he pulled the jacket open, revealing a row of shiny medals pinned to his shirt. "This," he said quietly, "is why my dog is here." A soft gasp spread through the crowd. The woman who had shouted moments before felt her heart stop. She stared at the medals, symbols of service, bravery, sacrifice. "I served in Afghanistan," the man continued, voice steady but gentle. "During my time there, I faced things no one should have to face. The dog beside me saved my life more times than I can count." He paused, looking down at the dog, who lifted its head and gave a soft whine. "This is my service dog," he said. "He helps me deal with the memories, the nightmares, the panic attacks. Without him, I wouldn't be standing here today." The woman's anger melted away, replaced by a heavy sadness. She remembered her own brother, who had served and never came home. The man's voice softened. "I've been trying to find peace again, and I thought if I could come here, to this church, with my dog, maybe I could." Tears welled up in the woman's eyes. The church was no longer just a place of rules and order, it was a place of healing. For the first time she understood. Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. The medals glinted softly under the church lights, but it was the story behind them that struck her deeply. Her hands trembled, and for a moment, she didn't know what to say. She looked at the man's calm dog, then back to the man's face, tired, honest and quietly brave. Memories rushed through her mind, her brother, who had gone off to serve and never returned. The letters, the long waits, the empty chair at the dinner table. She realized then how she had let fear and old habits blind her. Tears slid down Evelyn's cheeks. She took a small step forward, her voice shaking. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't understand." The man gave a small tired smile. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm just glad I could finally explain." Evelyn knelt down beside the dog, and gently reached out a hand. The dog leaned into her touch, calm and steady. The pastor stood and smiled warmly. "This church is a place of grace and welcome," he said kindly. "We honor all who seek comfort here, whether they walk on 2 legs or 4. Evelyn nodded, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. The walls that had once felt so strict and unyielding softened in that moment. She looked at the man again, this time with respect and kindness. "Thank you," she said. The man's eyes held a quiet gratitude. In that small church, something shifted. A space that had once been divided by judgment, became united in understanding and compassion. After that day, things in the church slowly began to change. Service animals, like the man's dog, were no longer met with suspicion or fear. Instead, they were welcomed quietly and respectfully. Recognized as helpers and healers. The man became a regular at the Sunday service. Every week, his dog lay peacefully at his feet, calm and watchful like a guardian. Evelyn often brought cookies for both of them, her warm smile showing how much her heart had opened. The congregation grew more understanding, learning that sometimes help comes in unexpected forms. The church, once known only for its strict traditions, became a place where kindness and acceptance grew stronger than rules. In time, Evelyn and the man developed a quiet friendship, built on respect and shared understanding. Their story reminded everyone that true faith means welcoming all, even those who seem different. The dog, once a cause for conflict, had become a symbol of hope and healing within those church walls. Sometimes people see only what they expect, rules, tradition and order, but the truth is often hidden beneath the surface, waiting for someone to listen. In that small church, a dog wasn't just a pet, he was a lifeline. A reminder that healing can come in many forms, and that faith is bigger than any rule. The woman who yelled learned that judgment can close hearts, but understanding can open them wide. And sometimes the angels sent to guide us don't have wings at all, they have fur, 4 legs and a quiet, loyal heart. In the end, the church became more than a building. It became a place of grace, where everyone, no matter their story, could find a little peace, because sometimes the most unexpected visitors bring the greatest blessings.